Welcome to Module 1 of the Play and Exploration Phase 1 workshop. In this module, we will take some time to get to know the Play and Exploration document, including the format and key features. Then we will take a bit of time to explore the vision and principles of early learning, as well as an introduction to holistic development. The module will end with a few review questions to reinforce some of the key ideas of the module. Let's take a few minutes to look at the beginnings of Play and Exploration Early Learning Program Guide. It was developed to provide a play-based program guide for the entire early learning and childcare sector, as well as incorporating the research literature. Early childhood educators from across the province were consulted with to discuss successes and challenges in providing quality early learning programs. A review of the first draft occurred with First Nations and Métis representatives, key early childhood experts in the province, and representatives from post-secondary institutions all provided feedback on the guide before it was finalized. Play and Exploration is available in both English and French. The document covers have also been updated, as you can see here. Don't worry if you have a version with the old cover, as the content inside is the same. Play and Exploration Early Learning Program Guide sets out a clear vision for quality early childhood education programming in Saskatchewan, and is used in pre-kindergarten, childcare, and other early learning programs. In response to feedback from early years educators in Saskatchewan, a few additional documents were developed. We won't be exploring these in this presentation, but if you're interested in learning more, you can make note to access some of these additional documents later. Play and Exploration for Infants and Toddlers, if you work with younger children, addresses these age groups more directly. Essential Learning Experience documents a more practical approach of how to do play and exploration. Creating Early Learning Environments focuses on environment, and Leading for Change for program leaders and childcare directors. After you complete the Phase 1 workshop, you may be interested in exploring these resources in more depth. They can all be found on the Early Learning portal under Play and Exploration. Play and Exploration is not a formal curriculum with outcomes and expectations as you would find in elementary grades. Rather, it is a guide to support early childhood educators moving towards higher quality practice. The guide is a resource for preschools, childcare, pre-kindergarten, Aboriginal Head Start programs, and family resource centers. The Early Learning Program Guide has much in common with the Inukshuk. The Inukshuk, which means likeness of person, was first created by the Inuit to mark trails, indicate caches of food, locate nearby settlements, as well as mark good places to hunt or fish. Most of the Canadian Arctic is dominated year-round by permafrost and only has a few natural landmarks which can be used for orientation. That's why Inukshuks are used as directional marker. Play and Exploration, the Early Learning Program Guide, is based on research and effective practice. It indicates direction through the early learning principles and provides suggestions for the broad audience of early childhood educators. Please locate your copy of Play and Exploration so you can use it through this section of the presentation. The Early Learning Program Guide is divided into 7 sections. Part 1, Vision and Principles. Part 2, Children as Competent Learners. Part 3, Changing Role for Educators. Part 4, How Young Children Learn. Part 5, Observation and Reflection. Part 6, High Quality Programming. And Part 7, Resource Sheets and Appendices. Let's look more closely at the content of Play and Exploration. By the way, all of the photographs in the document feature Saskatchewan people and programs. As we begin to work through each section of the guide, feel free to make note of sections you want to revisit, or if you have a paper copy, you can use sticky notes or highlighters to mark specific sections that you may want to revisit later. There are several key features in Play and Exploration that appear throughout the document. The first is the Quality in Action section. These blue-green sections appear throughout the Early Learning Program Guide to provide practical suggestions and examples for implementing quality programming. Have a look through your copy of Play and Exploration and see if you can find another Quality in Action section. Another interesting element of the document is the ladybug drawing. The drawing was featured on the original cover and is threaded throughout the document to remind readers of the ladybug story. This is a reminder of the importance of children's voices, and the drawing is a representation of the child's thinking, curiosity, and interests. If you haven't read the Ladybug story already, you may want to go make a note to go back and read it. Each section of play and exploration concludes with a reflection and decision-making page that provides an opportunity for educator reflection, action, and evaluation. This can be a great opportunity for conversation, dialogue, and planning to occur with the educators who you work with. The page could also be completed individually if you work alone. Please look through the guide to find the list of resource sheets. These are supports for implementing play and exploration. For example, Genuine Conversations shares information and suggestions on talking with children. There's a blank template of holistic development, which we will talk about a bit more. This page can be useful for planning and review of program activities. There are material and prop suggestions for experiential centers. There is an environments inventory, which includes questions to prompt environmental reflection. We will explore this a bit more in Module 4. There is a template for reflection and decision making for you to use to build reflection into the regular routines of your practice. The appendices include a glossary that provides context and clear understanding of terms used in the guide. Program Comparison provides key descriptions of 4 prevalent early learning approaches and some key recommended resources. Part 1 of Play and Exploration Early Program Guide describes the vision and principles around which the guide was developed. Take a few minutes and look at the pages that discuss the vision and principles of early learning. The vision states early learning programs are holistic, responsive, and developmentally appropriate. They focus on the healthy development of the whole child, social, emotional, physical, intellectual, and spiritual development. Children, family members, and early childhood educators collaborate in enriching children's learning and growth. The vision also presents 3 broad statements about children's learning experiences, their relationships, and their environments. These important ideas are expanded in the early learning principles. Play and exploration supports children's learning through play. The quote from the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child states that children have the right to play and to have an education that builds on holistic growth and development. In the Additional Resources tab, you can download a copy of the Council of Ministers of Education Canada CMEC Statement on Play-Based Learning. In this statement, signed by all ministers of education, the importance of play for young children's learning is described. In addition to the vision, the principles of early learning can also be found in the Early Learning Program Guide. The vision and principles set the foundation of the guide to clarify the direction of early learning programs and give guidance toward effective practices. We will look more closely at the principles in the second module. Right now, let's take a closer look at the vision. Children and their learning experiences is one of the key components of the vision from play and exploration. Children must have play-based programming with large, uninterrupted blocks of time supported by educator observation and facilitation of the play. This component also examines the role of exploration in children's learning and the key understandings of holistic learning. As we will explore in the modules on environment, learning experiences for young children occur throughout the day, both indoors and outdoors. Play and exploration is a play-based approach. Research has proven that play is the most effective way for children to learn. It is natural, motivating, and meaningful. There are different definitions of what play actually is. Please look through the guide to find the definition. Play involves choice. If a child is forced to do it, then it is not play. It is a work or task or chore. Play is fun. There's enjoyment and satisfaction in play. It makes us feel happy and content. The final criteria of play is that it is about the process or the doing and not about the product or outcome. So play is not finishing a worksheet or creating a craft that looks like everyone else's. In play, there is not a right or wrong way to complete the activity. It is important to note that the educator has an important and active role in supporting children's play. We will explore this in more depth in Module 3. The Canadian Child Care Federation states, physical activity and play are necessary for a child's healthy development. Active play is part of the way children grow and learn. Play is how children experience their world and bring meaning to it. It models a social framework that builds relationships for life and kindles the imagination. Play gives children the chance, in a world where so many carry heavy burdens, to simply be children. It is through play that children learn best. Furthermore, play is a child's right. Article 31 of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child states, "You have the right to play and rest." A copy of the rights of the child can be found under additional materials. One of the principles of early learning is holistic development. You can see the 4 domains of development in the circle here. The circle image is used to show that all 4 domains are necessary for overall well-being. If one is missing, there would be a large gap. While children play, they grow and develop in all domains of holistic development. Social-emotional development includes dramatic play, where children are able to act out new roles or familiar situations to help them understand more about the world and themselves. It also includes important learning for lifelong success, such as interacting with others, resolving conflicts, emotional competence, identifying and responding to the emotions of self and others, self-awareness, and self-worth, as well as a sense of belonging. Physical development refers to both small and large muscle development, as well as healthy habits including nutrition and self-care. Intellectual development includes language and emerging literacy, making choices, solving problems, exploring numeracy, and critical and creative thinking. Spiritual development encompasses connections to the outdoors and nature, having a sense of wonder, a sense of calm and peace, experiencing joy, appreciating beauty in nature and the world, and feeling connected to others. Now we will examine a couple of photos that are examples of play so we can reflect on the holistic development that might be occurring during the activity. In the photo shown here, the children are using eaves troughs to create ramps for cars. What domains of holistic learning does this activity support? How is this experience promoting intellectual development, social-emotional development, physical development, and spiritual development? Pause the presentation here and take a few minutes to write down your thoughts. I hope you were able to identify some learning in each of the domains. Here is what I thought of. Intellectual development, science concepts, height and angle of ramp, gravity, problem solving, language development, vocabulary, using words such as speed, fast, faster, incline. Physical development, small muscles, fine motor development to handle the cars, and large muscles to set up the ramps. Social emotional development, sharing ideas with others, taking turns, and working together on an activity, possibly resolving conflict, negotiating differences, and perseverance to try again if an idea doesn't work as they thought it would. Spiritual development, experiencing the joy and awe of watching the cars speed down the ramp. Here is another example. This is a photo of shadow curtain play. The children are using animal shapes and a light source behind a white curtain or sheet to create a dramatic play experience. Again, take a minute and pause the presentation to reflect on what domains of development this experience supports. Some ideas may include physical development, muscle coordination of manipulating the pieces, as well as the children building awareness of where their body is and where others are. Intellectual, conversation, creating a storyline, imagination, and creativity. Social emotional, working together, sharing materials, small group interactions. And spiritual, wonder of shadows and the light and how the images appear larger than the actual item. The second component of the vision of play and exploration is children and their relationships. This component shows the importance of strong, positive relationships in the context of family, culture, and community. There are a variety of relationships in the early learning environment. These include relationships child to child to adult, and adult to family. Research shows that children's early relationships have an impact on the relationships they develop through childhood and even as adults. Strong, positive relationships are a necessity, not a luxury, for healthy development. Educators must develop respectful relationships with children and their families. Educators can create space where families feel welcome in the program. Often, programs allow families to transition with their children by lingering to read books as they drop off their child or visit with the staff. These informal opportunities are a strong foundation to create a sense of belonging. This photo is a lovely example of couch reading, providing a comfortable space to share a reading experience together. This is a great opportunity to develop relationships. Other types of activities that are helpful to build relationships with families could include potluck meals, gym nights involving family in the planning of learning activities and projects, and home visits. Technology now provides many opportunities to connect with families, to build relationships, share information, and discussing and sharing about the child's learning. This sharing should go both ways, learning at home and in the program. This photo shows an area in the classroom where an adult or child may sit and relax for a quiet moment. The framed photos of children and their families in frames on the shelf can be picked up and moved throughout the program space, so children can always have a sense of connection with their family and acknowledges to children that their family has a place in the early learning program. When children and their families share learning experiences in the early learning program, strong relationships are fostered. This can include being physically present in the early learning environment, as well as opportunities that extend into the community and even some online opportunities that foster connection and relationship building. Relationships between children and educators are developed and strengthened in both large and small group activities. It is important for children to know that their educator cares about them. Areas are created within the program to encourage children's interactions with their peers. Comfy, cozy areas should be available for children to help them develop relationships and to help them learn self-regulation. The third component of the vision of play and exploration is children and their environments. 3 key components of program design as outlined in the guide are the environment, creating opportunities and spaces to build relationships. The guide provides information on planning and schedules. The environment has the capacity to engage and shape learning interactions. It should invite children to explore and should be a place for nurturing relationships. Take a look at the resource sheet, Responsive Environments. This can be very helpful in planning your own program space. The photo on the bottom of this page shows a lace curtain covering the bottom of a cabinet with soft pillows inside. This creates a warm and cozy place for children to relax and be alone that is still easy to supervise. It is important to be intentional when planning both indoor and outdoor environments. We will look more closely at early learning environments in modules 4 and 5. A few quick words about daily schedules. Programs should offer basic, consistent routines that children become familiar with. Time for play experiences should be at least 60 to 90 minutes every day. This allows children to have time to deeply engage and to complete work without rushing. This uninterrupted play experience involves educators being very intentional in preparing the environment and using this time for observations, conversations with children, scaffolding learning, and supporting children's holistic development. How do we integrate the 3 components of the vision? Through being intentional and planning ahead. Always keeping the 3 components in mind positively influences the high-quality environment that educators are responsible for creating. Communication and collaboration strengthens the learning context. Relationships are built between children, educators, and families in a warm, welcoming environment. In the book Designs for Living and Learning, Margie Carter and Deb Curtis emphasize the interrelatedness of the 3 components of learning, relationships, and environment. These key components of the vision of play and exploration influence the other components, and together they strengthen children's growth and development. This brings us to the end of Module 1. To review, please write down the answer to the question, what are the 3 components of the vision in play and exploration? Here are the answers to the review questions. You are now ready to start Module 2.